I am Jorge Larcon, founder and CEO of Aktiun, creators of ChartFactor. In this video, I'll show you the Studio CLI, a tool we recently introduced to save you time when creating your advanced data applications. It translates Studio dashboards into native web applications with code that you can easily modify and make it your own. To get started, I'm going to open the Austin Crime dashboard. I created this dashboard using the Austin Crime public dataset. It contains several visualizations. I'm going to open the area line to show you how it's configured. First, I'm grouping by crime description and showing the top 15 by count of incidents. The second group is timestamp. I'm showing month granularity and sorted ascending. And for metrics, I'm using the count of incidents. On the settings side, I'm having here legend turn on. I can turn it off. I can turn it on again. I can reverse the order of the legend if I want to. Here I have the axis settings. I just left them all default. Grid margins also default. Mark lines, I could set values for a mark line if I want to. And data zoom, it's on. I can turn it off if I want to gain some bottom margin, for example, like this. Okay. On the color side, there are many out-of-the-box palettes classified as sequential, diverging, and qualitative. For example, here I have sequential palettes, diverging, qualitative, and you can always configure your own with individual colors. And here's the view code option. Here you can see the code that powers your visualization at all times, so you can see how it changes as you change the visualization configuration. Right, let me close this. Your visualizations are configured in similar fashion. One thing about labels, I could configure the labels right inside the visualization, or I could use the metadata feature to configure them globally. Here, for example, I have here count, I have labeled it as incidents, and some few fields that I decided to configure. All right. On the interactivity side, it works as usual. So for example, what are the top crimes committed on District Code 2 and 3 in 2016? I could just select here on the slicer, code 2 and 3, and I could go into 2015 or 2016, whatever I prefer, like that. All right. Okay. So now, what if I want to create a web application outside Studio with the same charts and interactivity? Where would I start? Well, with CLI, you can start by generating this application. I'll show you how. First, I'm going to export this dashboard into a folder. It can be any folder. I selected CFS files. I'm going to save it now. Okay. And now in my Finder, you can see I have a autocrime CFS. In the output, CFS output, I'm going to select this empty. Now I go to the terminal and I'm going to run my CLI tool. The command is CFS, the input parameter -i. I'm going to specify the Austin Crime CFS file I just downloaded. And as output, I'm going to have the output CFS output, and I'm going to create a folder, Austin Crime, for my application. Right, I'm going to press enter. And now I have, you can see in Finder, now I have the Austin Crime folder. And here I'm going to start a web server listening to port 8080. All right, I'm going to open that resource here in my browser. Right here, Austin Crime. And here you have it. Is the native web application with all the visualizations that we had in Studio and with the same interactivity. So for example, I can select console district codes 2 to 6, and I can select year 2014, for example. All right, same thing. Now you may ask how easy it is to modify this code, how complex it is. Well, it's quite the same as modifying the code in Studio for the visualizations I showed you. So let me open a new window. Okay, and I'm going to show you the generated application very quickly. Okay, so I'm going to just drag here Austin Crime, and here you have JS folder. I can open the index.js file where all the JavaScript is, and you can see, for example, here the generated widget for the area line that I was showing you initially is grouped by description, which is the field name, top 15 descending, also by timestamp, multi-granularity. I could, for example, say instead of top 15, let me just say top 5. We're gonna save and go back to my application. Refresh the area line. Now it's gonna have only 5 crime types, and here you go. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna show you now my favorite feature, which is the ability to create a multi-tab application with several dashboards and the ability to filter across those tabs and sources. Okay, so for that I have here the Austin 311 calls. It's a second dashboard. I'm going to open it now, and it uses the Austin Crime Public data, no, Austin 311 calls dataset. Now I'm going to export it. I'm going to export it in the same folder like this. All right, and now in my input folder I have these two CFS files. I'm going to generate my multi-tab application. So now instead of specifying a specific CFS file, I'm just going to have CFS files. I'm going to specify just the main folder that contains all the CFS files that I want to include in my generated application. And as output, I'm going to specify a different path. Here I'm going to call it portal in the output folder. Okay, I'm going to press enter, and now I'm going to go back into my web server page. I'm going to refresh it, and now I see portal here. I'm going to open it, and now you can see I have two tabs, Austin 311 and Austin Crime. Okay, if I go to Austin Crime, I have my previous application. Now Austin 311 calls is the additional dashboard I created, and I can again filter and interact with the application as usual. Okay, the cool thing is that this filter is also applied here in the other one. You can see the slicer has also been affected and all the visualizations. I could go and say I want to see years 2015, 2016. Okay, I'm gonna go like that, and now you can see that everything is filtered by those 2 years. If I go into Austin Crime, the same thing, everything is filtered by those 2 years. All right, so in summary, ChartFactor provides the components to speed up the creation of your advanced data applications without long implementation cycles, crazy hardware requirements, or cloud service charges. For more information on advanced data applications and ChartFactor, visit us at aktiun.com/ChartFactor.